Welcome to the Nourish and Restore podcast with me, Nina, and my awesome friend, Nicole, where we bring all things nourishing and restorative to you, your body, mind, and soul. A chance for you to enjoy simple tools to help you live a happier, healthier, and more peaceful life. Join us now as we move into conversation.
Welcome, everybody, to our new month of our last episode for the Chakra Series. Very excited to be speaking to my super awesome partner, Nina Sachs. Nina, how are you doing? How's everything going your side?
Hi, Nicole. So lovely to hear your voice. All fantastic this side. I am actually down in Cape Town visiting for the month. So that is super exciting. Always nice to, connect with friends and family again and Cape Town. So I am in a very good space. How about you, my friend?
Standing. Very, very cool. Yeah. Also very good here on this side. We are going on a little ski trip next week. So we are super excited to, get away for a little bit, get onto the slopes for a little bit.
That sounds absolutely divine. That sounds fantastic. One of us at the beach or one of us at the ski slopes?
And then, keeping it balanced.
Exactly. Cool. All right. So our kind of closing month of our chakra work theme, do you want to kick us off with kind of like what you've maybe learned or realized from this month together, and where you'd like to kind of steer the conversation, in which direction? And I'll just throw in my 2 cents along the way.
Fabulous, thank you. Yeah, so it's been a really interesting journey. The Chakra Series is always an interesting journey because just like anything in life, there's never an end to what you can learn from a situation. Need changes, your situation changes, the energy and the frequency around you changes. So, for me, it's just been a great reminder again to just keep touching into your energy levels, keep touching into your chakras, into your energetic body, into your physical body, really embodying your being, which enables you then to move forward in confidence, in being grounded, in being whole, and as balanced, as much balanced as possible. I think that more and more so we are starting to realize, or I'm starting to realize that we really do have everything inside of us. We really do have all the tools that we need to assist us, in everyday life situations.
Exactly, yeah.
And especially in the ones of keeping ourselves, I wouldn't want to really say in check, because in check, I don't want to have this checkbox of, but kind of keeping yourself in line also isn't the right word that I'm looking for, but balanced, keeping yourself as much as balanced as possible, in order for you to really benefit from the day. So I would like to just kind of move through the chakras very briefly, touching on each chakra, just to kind of give a little bit of a quicker input. I know that the last months we've kind of dived into each chakra quite deeply, which is a beautiful journey. But on a day-to-day basis, it makes it easier when you have short little tools that you can use just to bring yourself back into balance when you're feeling certain emotions, when you're feeling certain imbalances arising, just to quickly be able to nip those in the bud, bring you back into balance in order for you to just move forward through the day.
Exactly. I love that. Love that idea. And it's so perfect, kind of like and I think what will be really nice and where this will kick off is kind of like, if we think of Sushumna Nadi, the central energy channel, and this is how I do my check-in in the morning, is like, if I'm sitting in meditation, I don't even know if I'd call it meditation, maybe it's more just concentration or deeper awareness. And when I breathe up and down that central energy channel, and, some days it's, super free and light and I'm focused and, my awareness goes up and down very easily. And other days, my attention sticks in a certain area. Like, maybe it'll be down like in the lower section of me, like especially now, in my menstrual cycle, I can just feel that there's, with the lower centers, the base center and the sacral center, there's just a little bit of attention that is needed there. And maybe that means that, my meditation practice this morning is really just going to focus on bringing a bit of love and care and nourishment there. Whereas other days I can really feel like there's, something, like my heart center just needs a little bit of focus, or at my throat. And I'll allow my awareness to settle there. So I think that's like a really easy, quick way of checking in, like, okay, where's attention and a little bit of focus and love needed for the day? So do you want to start off down at the base center? Because that's always a lovely space to start.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's such a beautiful practice. In the morning when you get up, just sit at the edge of your bed or sit in your bed and just breathe, breathe through that central line and kind of feel into where the breath isn't as smooth as it could be, and then one can start focusing on those areas. But let's definitely start with the base chakra at the base of our spine. Here, I like to really start off with the practice of embodying the base chakra, visualizing a beautiful bright red light, but any shades of red is, where you're at the moment and the shade that you're probably needing. But to really focus here on the I am. So, for me right now, if I say I am present is the word that comes to my mind. And to allow that to sink into your being energetically, physically, emotionally. I am present, and really feeling yourself grounding into the earth's energies. That for me would be the tip for really just getting into that grounding, that root chakra. Yeah.
And I suppose for me, it's, I think it's lovely to have that energetic look. And for me, like physically, the physical representation is nourishment. So for me, it's kind of like making the right choices in the morning with regards to meals for the day ahead so that I am fully nourished. And that I feel is so overlooked very often because we all go for the quick fixes and the quick grabs when we're so busy. But if we're feeling ungrounded and balanced, to actually be like, okay, I'm going to, whatever it is, pop a pot of rice on for the day ahead or cut up some veggies and, roast some root veggies and put those in the oven and have those as my, part of my main meal. So for me, it is definitely deep nourishment, I suppose, on a physical level.
Absolutely. And what's so interesting, what I find is that when I am energetically grounded, when I energetically am present, I automatically move towards a healthy, nourishing lifestyle. And that's where I find it so important to really have that inner grounding, because when we have that inner grounding, then we also reach for it on an external.
Exactly.
And when we have that external to nourish the inner grounding, it's such a beautiful marriage, that union.
Exactly. It really is. And it's interesting kind of also looking exactly what you're saying, like from an Ayurvedic perspective, you can actually like use one from the other. Sometimes for those who've got like a lot of air and ether in us, like us Vatas, it's very easy for us to tap into the energetics of the space and the world around us, and to use that to propel us forward, because we're in that light etheric space already. And to use that I am present or I am grounded feeling to be like, okay, I can now bring that into making nourishing foods for myself. For example, those that have more of the Kapha disposition, who are a lot more physical, who are a lot more grounded and earthy, they relate more easily to the physical sense. So for them, it's a lot easier to start with preparing the healthy meals, and then once they've got that, to move more into the light and the etheric space of the energetic world. So it's super interesting how, depending on our constitution and where we are, how we can use one or the other to help navigate or propel us into rhythm again.
Absolutely. And therefore actually so important, for us to really feel into how do we operate, during the day, what constitution are we, which way forward, is the best way for us to really ground into life.
Exactly. And on any particular day, and not realizing that there is only one way forward. There are so many options, and we need to be aware of them so that we can choose the best one in the moment.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Let's move on to the sacral center. I love this creative center.
Yeah, me too. It really is one that is so vast and expansive, because it doesn't only deal with our creativity. For me, it really is the center where we balance our masculine and feminine energies. It is really the place where the fire starts to, kind of move into the more, I wouldn't say etheric, but fun and joy and as you say, creativity. And here for me, I really connect into the space by connecting into the energies, and the mantra or the affirmation for me is I feel. And what I love about this exercise is that it really, how do you say it? Like on a drop of the hat, or how do you say that? At a drop of a hat, if I had to say now I feel, then my word that would come forth is alive, And it's also a playful way for us to kind of say, okay, what is wanting to show itself? I am present. Okay, that's great. Let me really move more into the presence of my being. And then I feel alive. I just feel this fire moving through me. And then connecting with that energy and helping you moving into the day with that energy.
Yeah. That's and for me that is so vital, to have that kind of like the movement aspect of moving into your day. And with this kind of like creative center, to me, because it's so strongly connected to the water element, so I'm going to come back from like a more physical aspect, is hydration. For me, hydration is key to really making sure that you're able to have a good, healthy day, I suppose, going forward. If we're not hydrated, that's then where we then start getting dehydrated, the headaches start coming in, our cravings start to kick in, we start to want food instead of because we're feeling hungry, we're not listening to the fact that we're actually dehydrated. So the idea of just using this creative center, the sacral center, listening to the fact that it's directly related to the water element and our sense of taste, and to really just keep, sipping water throughout the day and between the meals, and to give ourselves space. So for me, on a physical basis, it is that keeping hydrated, keeping your water bottle or your thermos tea flask handy. So yeah, that's where I'm with our chakra here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, water is the conduit messenger, so we definitely need to keep our body hydrated for our body to function and be able to, kind of get all the messages across of what needs to be done during the course of the day. So that's a great tip. Absolutely, yeah. Good. So moving on to the next one, which is also one of my absolute favorites. They all actually are my absolute favorites.
I know. I was going to say, I love this one.
Yes, I know. It's because they're all so different and they're all so unique, and they all bring such amazing qualities out, So the next one really is the solar plexus, which for me is just... it's just so wow when you are able to really step into your inner power, your inner wisdom, and to really bring that across in such a beautiful sharing way. So here for me, I tap into the energy of I do. And for me, what comes up now is I do amazing things, which we all do. We all do amazing things. And it's not having to, kind of like have the world's problems on your shoulders, or, we don't always have to think of these huge things that we have to do. But everything that we do in life, every moment of our being, our breathing is amazing, So really tapping into that inner acceptance of who you are, and what you're doing. And even if you're not doing anything at the moment, that's okay. We have days where we just stare out the window and are mesmerized or are just daydreaming, and that's also okay. That's actually more than okay, because often we're too busy to even have time to do that. So
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. And I suppose for me, like, I love to think of a flame, like a candle flame, and it is directional. It's like pointing upwards, and it's moving towards like our dream, our goal, our desire, what it is we kind of like stand for. And when we have and we acknowledge and we know what our deeper purpose is and our deeper desire, then we have that motivation, that spark in the mornings to jump out of bed and to get on with the day and to do what needs to be done. And some days it's being active and, focused and work orientated. And other days it's, for whatever it is I'm doing, I need to be staring out the window and just allow creativity to guide me. So to me, it's definitely having that sense of direction and purpose and allowing that to navigate. And it's been one of those that for me in this past year has been so prevalent, and so like I've learned so much about having clear direction and clear purpose. And when you've got that, how much easier it is to navigate, because you're not kind of like going down this path and then you're changing and you're going down this path and then all of a sudden you're going down this path. You're actually moving from A to B, and you may be veering off to the sides a little, but your purpose is so clear as to, where you're going and what you're doing, that you don't get sidetracked and exhausted by 100 and other things that kind of come up or are in the way.
Absolutely,
so again, a fantastic chakra. They're all fantastic.
Yeah. And I feel what's so important here is to really, in order to have that direction, in order to have that, clear vision, to really combine that sacral chakra into the solar plexus energy, where you really feel into what you're doing. You might be completely focused on one thing, but it really doesn't feel well, so therefore it isn't actually what you should be working towards. So really connecting into that feeling center so that you can become more focused, because I know that there are a lot of people out there at the moment that are feeling lost. They don't know what to do with themselves. They're not happy in their current situation. So being focused here could be quite frustrating because they're not focused, so to just help you out a little bit, to just really get into the feeling center, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel alive, and then to put that into focus and then move forward in that. Exactly. And then really allowing yourself to say, I'm moving towards something that makes me feel good,
Yeah. And this is also where sometimes it's really helpful to speak to someone, to have that kind of like communication, or to have someone guide you through like, okay, well, you know, where are you stuck? How can I help you? And just to have honest conversations with people who you know are doing what you wanting to do, or have gone through what you want, you know, what you need to go through. So sometimes having those people assist you so that they can show you the direction is really, really helpful.
Yeah, steer you in the right way. Absolutely. And often it's just that conversation with somebody, you know, whether it's a coach, whether it's a friend, whether it's a therapist, but often it's the mirroring, you know, it's the talking, it's getting it out. And actually what's beautiful about that process is the self-realization, you know, and then being able to move forward from there. Absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect. Cool. All right. Because that leads us straight into our heart center, does it not?
Exactly. I was just about to say the same thing. Into the feeling more. Absolutely. The I love. Yeah, really tapping into your heart space here, really tapping into, you know, the strength of the heart. I know some of us might be feeling that our heart is very heavy at the moment, but our heart is so powerful, because our heart is known as our second brain, and being able to really guide us in the right direction when we really learn to tap into the heart space. Not only trying to protect the heart space, but to really allow the vulnerability to shine through, because through the vulnerability, do you really only start to tap into the real essence of your being, your uniqueness, and what you have to offer the world.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful way of putting it, in the fact that, you know, we are each unique beings here. We are not cookie cutters of each other or anyone else. We have our specific, unique constitution. And it is, for me, it's a lot to do with self-love and self-acceptance and self-appreciation. When we're able to accept that there are certain qualities that we are born with that are innate to us, and we can honor and love those parts about us, and not feel like we need to be this other person that is, you know, in a magazine or in a book or on TV or a friend that we know, you know, or a podcast person that we listen to, or whatever the story is. But when we can really tap into our unique talents, and that's where that conversation with a person from before, what I was chatting about, can really be helpful, because often we can't see that in ourselves. And I know we've done this for each other along the, you know, our growth journey, where, you know, I'll be like, oh, Nicole, you know, you're so cool, and you're always, you know, so loving and so giving and, you know, so honest. You really tap into your intuitive center and work intuitively from that space. And, you know, if we don't often have someone who mirrors that or says that to us, we can forget about, because like you were saying before, the world can feel so heavy, and we can go into that like heavy slumpish area. And it is just nice to kind of like have that spark and realize that we are each our, you know, a unique little raindrop in the big expanse of the ocean, and that we are fantastic, and we're all needed, no matter how big or how small our personalities are. We are each unique, and we are all here for a purpose, and are all needed. So yes, even if we don't always think that, we really, everyone is here to help and support someone else along their journey. And I mean, I think that's why we do what we do, because we know that, you know, even though we don't have the millions of followers that we would love, there's someone who's listening who's going to benefit from our conversation and what we're doing.
Absolutely. And, you know, like you were saying, it's not about the outward vision of what others are doing. It's not about the comparison. It's really about dropping into yourself. It's really about getting to know who you really are, dropping the facade, so that these unique qualities can come forward, you know, so that you can really live your true essence of your being. And yes, often these get clouded these get hidden from us due to certain insecurities, certain experiences that we've had in life. And this is exactly where somebody that you can tune into, somebody that you can touch base with or even work with over a longer period of time to really help you remove those layers. It is such a beautiful exercise of really having somebody that you can trust, somebody that you can let go of, and somebody that can hold the space for you, you know. And exactly, you know, like our friendship, our relationship, our coaching each other through everything, and our different perspective in life has brought such growth, you know, to even my own journey, that I can highly recommend it to you all. And it's so interesting, you know, like you were saying earlier, on moving into the next chakra, that I love, and once we've embodied the I love myself, you know, once you really truly can step into that me power, you know, then you can also start voicing your truth. And here, moving into the next chakra, the throat chakra, here you speak your truth. You know, when you speak your truth, you feel alive, you feel good, you feel like you're accomplishing or sharing or doing something good in the world. Where if you're not speaking your truth, you know, if you're putting people down, or if you are being manipulative or narcissistic, or, you know, the negative qualities, you don't feel good about yourself, you know. You might have this instant rush of like, wow, you know, this fake power of being able to be nasty to somebody else. But in the long run, it starts eating away at you. So really being able to drop into that heart space, being able to drop into that love for yourself, and therefore love for everyone else on the planet, you are able to really speak with compassion and truth. And I speak my truth, you know, I speak with love. Yeah.
That and that is so true. And being able to speak from that space of compassion and love, and doing it in a way that is caring towards who you're speaking to and about, but also to be honest with it, but to be honest in a loving way. There's so many different ways we can say things, but to see if we can, whenever we have to have maybe those difficult conversations, because they do come up in life, and we don't want to shy away from them, because then we're not honoring ourselves. So when those difficult conversations do come up, to not take it from a step of like aggression or I am right, but to address the conversation from, I understand your position, I have compassion, but this is what I need to bring forth and share. So for me, this year has been a big lesson with speaking my truth and opening up from, you know, my throat center. And I find that a lot of sounding breaths in my yoga practice has been really, really helpful to kind of keep this area in check, in balance. We were saying like not in check earlier, but yeah, just to keep it nicely nourished and not overactive and not underactive in a sense. And the sounding breaths, if it's the ahs, the oohs, the e's, mms, you know, tapping, anything like that, on a physical level has really helped me this year.
Yeah, absolutely. They're really stepping into that, training those voice muscles, you know, even singing mantras, and, you know, even putting on the music while you're having a shower, and completely just, you know, letting yourself go. Is really helping you to sound, you know. Beautiful. And with that, you know, maybe even some listeners that are new here that haven't listened to our podcast from the beginning, we did an amazing interview with La Valhalla from Medicine Muse, who does exactly that, who moves into voicing and opening up into the throat chakra in our throat chakra series. Yeah.
So that takes us right up into our center of intuition. I know we had a lovely conversation about our center of intuition and intelligence. So you kick us off there.
Yeah, here really interesting enough, what's coming to me now is that when tapping into the third eye, into the inner and outer vision, that groundedness is so important again, because what do we see futuristically? What do we see in ourselves that is needed? And when we are not earthed or grounded, then we can really tap into false information which will perhaps guide us in the wrong direction. And it's almost like this whole social media thing, this whole false talk or things that are happening. And when we get lost in a vision that isn't grounded, we can really move out of balance and alignment. So here, very important, as much as connecting to your third eye and as much as connecting to the higher vision, allowing that higher vision to be a grounded higher vision is so important. Especially like you were saying, for the Vata people who are very up there in the air element and really need to be grounded, it's one thing of stepping out of this world and being airy fairy and allowing it to kind of help you out of difficult situations, but yet these difficult situations are there to teach you something, so by not being grounded and not moving through it in a grounded manner, you will actually not really be learning anything out of the situation. So my tip here really is, yes, connect into your inner self, connect into your inner vision, connect into your inner and outer third eye by making sure that you're grounded. And here to really say, I see, I see my potential, I see my truth.
I love that, and I definitely resonate with what you're saying with regards to the kind of like the stimuli that are coming in. If you need to be able to make sure that those are clear and truthful, because if they're not, then you are operating from a way of like misinformation. And to me, on a physical level, the way the stimuli come into our physical being are through our sense organs, through our sense of smell, our sense of taste, our sense of sight, our sense of feeling, our sense of hearing. And if we don't take care of those sense organs on a physical manner, the stimuli coming in are not going to be truthful. We're going to not be assessing them right. So for me, it's making sure that like all our senses are looked after to the best of our ability, so that we can really function truthfully, so that what is coming into us, we then intuitively know what we need to do or how to respond, because it is not coming in from tainted information or a tainted way of being. So
absolutely, it's here to serve our highest good. For sure. Cool. And then moving up into the crown chakra is really the connection to higher self, connection to the energies that surround us. And once again, here also very important to be grounded in this practice, so when moving into meditation, when moving into, perhaps you are starting to do some channeling or tapping into your guides, anything like that, is to really truly be grounded, and the connection to higher realms, the for me here, it's all about the understanding. I understand the highest good of all, or I understand the bigger picture. But then yet still being able to break it down in smaller vision pieces so that you can move forward. Because often I feel, especially if I look back onto my journey, there were often times where, I could see the bigger picture. I could see what I needed to do. I could see where, the next workshop or whatever was going to take place. But then for me, it was like, okay, but I'm sitting here. I don't even know how I'm going to get there. And then to actually just break it down, break down that bigger picture, because the bigger picture can also sometimes be really overwhelming.
Super overwhelming. Yeah.
Yeah. And it doesn't need to be a bigger picture just about yourself and your life. But sometimes when we think of on a world perspective, the bigger picture can be super like overpowering and overwhelming. And it's saying like, no, okay, well, let's just do this day by day. But tapping into that, I understand, the bigger vision.
And I love what you're saying about like breaking it down into like the mini steps, tiny little kind of micro steps. Like, what are the little steps that are going to get me from A to B? And as you progress up that little ladder, those rungs on those ladder, and having those small little steps, not these massive steps that you can't get, 1 foot to the next, but having, manageable steps, and then seeing how far you've actually come, and not looking how far you need to go, but actually acknowledging how far you've actually come. And then we just keep going. And for me, a lot of it has to do with releasing expectations. So often, when we're putting something together, we have all these high expectations, or if we're sitting in meditation or concentration or contemplation, we often feel like, this is how I want to feel today in my practice. And actually being there and just letting all expectations go, connecting with that space, and what is meant to come forth, allow that to come forth. That's how I love maybe relating or connecting to that crown center.
Yeah, absolutely. And also just really taking your time, taking your time with those steps, and then moving back into the feeling. And as you take those steps, which steps feel good, so that you do make sure that you are moving in the right direction. Because if we go at anything at high speed, it's often that we fall back down from the ladder, that we've missed a step, or we've lost our balance, and that's okay too, but then when you move forward again, just make sure that you really move forward with awareness, and exactly. Small steps at a time. Yeah.
And I mean, I'd love all these chakras, and I think that's why it's such a beautiful journey up and down. And I mean, just to sit and to breathe and to connect with the centers, or just to notice where there's maybe a bit of resistance, or maybe where there's a little bit of, attention calling, and not to go about it in a, that's so bad, and, I can't, why can't I breathe up and down easily and with, smoothly today, but actually just to nourish, nurture, and love that little area that is calling for attention. It's like our little, I don't want to call it like a red flag, but it's kind of like a little something in your body going, hello, I'm needing a little hug or a little love today. Can you focus here today for a change? I'm feeling a little left out. And just see, what is it? Is it overactive? Is it underactive? Does it need a little bit of spark and fire under it to get it going, or does it need like a little bit of coolness and to bring the fire or the energy down a little to help it balance? Just seeing what it is. And that's where our intuition is so important. Is like, we don't have to go to a book or a this or a that. If we just tune into ourselves, we actually know what we're needing. If we're honest with ourselves, we know when we need to get off the couch and go for that walk. And we know when we actually need to get onto our yoga mat and sit down and breathe. And it's listening to those, I think, those little signs from within.
Absolutely. Listening to the signs and giving yourself the space and the time to tend to your needs. I mean, you wouldn't be driving a car and the petrol light is going and you don't stop at a petrol station, or the oil lamp is on, you know. So it's exactly
I know that. We've all pushed to the boundaries before.
Absolutely, you know, absolutely, because we think that we can do everything to the max, but actually we can't, you know. And then there are those repercussions, and then there are those times where we twist our ankle or, you know, fall down the steps or whatever it may be, you know. I don't want to cause harm to anybody, but and then we like, oh crap, you know, now I've got a cast on. But actually, no, this cast is there because you need to stop. You need to stop. You need to sit. You need to think about things. And when we get into that, when we get into the habit of really sitting every day, just for 2 or 3 minutes, just checking in, where am I feeling what? And we will put up beautiful, you know, meditations. We will have all our tips and tools for this month. So really listen in and really try and find what works for you. You know, there's no, there's not saying to be rigid about something, but no, it needs to flow. It needs to work for you. And that's the beauty also about our relationship, is that we have so many different things to offer, you know, and really covering a broad spectrum. So so enjoy this last month of our Chakra series. And if you are new to our podcast channel and haven't listened to the first couple of episodes, dive back into them. You know, if you are feeling that your solar plexus is needing some work, then really concentrate on the solar plexus episode and just play around with it. It's obviously available always for you, and have fun. Send us feedback. Let us know if you need any assistance. You know, we have both our unique qualities, Nina with her Ayurvedic and her coaching and yoga, myself with the energetic side, yoga kinesiology, body alignment. So tap into what we have to offer, tap into being able to have your space being held and guided through the next couple of months.
Absolutely. Perfectly. Couldn't have said it any better myself. Awesome, my friend. So wishing you and all our listeners a fantastic, fantastic day further.
Absolutely. Have an amazing day. Have an amazing week and month ahead. And we look forward to hearing from you and send you so, so, so much love.
Namaste, and have a fantastically nourishing day.
This is Nina
and Nicole sending you a big thank you for listening to the Nourish and Restore podcast.
This is our podcast for health and wellness workers and learners out there, a resource for you to nourish your body, mind, and soul, and to restore yourself to your natural state of being.
Simple ways to live healthier, happier, and at ease.
For more information on working with me, Nina Sachs, visit www.saacks.com.
And to work with me, Nicole, visit www.lov-me.com.
To find out more about Nourish and Restore, visit our website or Facebook page, nourishandrestore.yoga.
Links will be in the show notes.
We look forward to catching up with you next week.
Namaste and have a nourishing day.